Well, good news. I finally got a somewhat decent Michelle. Finally, it only took me like several hundred dozen different tries. Um, and I did get a backstabbing version of this guy, which will be kind of interesting to see how that works out. Because the only thing I care about here really is I'm looking at him purely for. There's only like a couple of builds really that'll have actually find the magic combo to be of any value to them. It all has to do with the way in which it's kind of a replacement for certain skills, but either way, right? I ended up getting this Michelle, which I think will be really nice because it's got crit damage, it's got crit skill, and then crit resistance, which, as you guys all know, the biggest benefit of this particular avian right now isn't so much in where it can do damage with combo and counter. And you'll notice here you only get 40% skill, crit 75, and then skill crit's only 10%. So it's got its place, but it only goes so far, really, in the grand scheme of things. So I'm hoping that I can eventually use that particular avian now to train out and get the actual items in question that I'm after and get the affixes that we're wanting. Now, other than that, of course, I'm getting 775. We're going to go ahead and see if we can actually kill the boss this time around. I haven't tried this in a while, so we'll just see if we've improved. The biggest challenge here is that we got to do a stupid amount of damage. And this is where it may even make sense for me to probably cut the actual spectral enchant and the... yeah, we very well may have to. So what we'll do is so like there's 813. I think just to make it that much more efficient, we're going to move over to using the Pyre Breaker. And then to make the damage components of this a little better, I can either use the Cryo Field, which I kind of think might work here, just because it's going to give us that much more damage over time. But I think for now we'll use the Flaming Carnage just because you're going to have so many proc crits because of what we'll tack onto it. So it almost kind of eventually winds up being better. And then where Alien Dimension helps in like really quick sprints, it's not good over time. So we may resort to using something like this, which is going to reduce maybe, I don't know, actually I'm leaning towards probably not that actually. We may resort to using maybe this instead. This is just going to bring down their resistance. It's that, or I use something like Fallen Angel, which does kind of the opposite, where it brings your damage down, but then it increases it until it goes through the roof. The problem is we won't take any damage. We could go Myriad Sparks. I think that's probably the way we'll go with it, because that'll maximize our damage. So we'll go with those in mind, and we'll see what exactly pull off here. In fact, actually, we can even probably make it a little bit more efficient by taking the stun out. And let's throw in like the crit spike, the crit Wordly Snare, that is. Throw that in there, and that'll really ample up the amount of damage. There's something with all of that in mind. Those are all going to really, really jive well as far as maximizing the amount of damage. That's really ultimately what we're aiming for here. And I don't know how else to really spike that damage up any further than doing it like that. Just for the sake of damage, anyway. So, like, there's 819. See how much more we can get out of it. Technically, I guess we could go in the star array and we could swap out our... it wouldn't be enough for it to matter, though. Maybe tweaking the actual talents, maybe. Just to basically increase the amount of attack we do. That'd be about the only thing I could probably switch at this point. And even that, it looks like it's enough. Just barely. Just barely. All right. Now this step, I think we're going to need We're going to need a fair bit. We don't really have a whole lot more in terms of how much damage we can do. There's not a whole lot left on the plate, really. We probably throw some into attack boost, though, and that'll bring it up ever so slightly. Go ahead and turn this on. Why not? Might as well pick up our extras, too, while we're at it. But yeah, it's the challenge is trying to find a way to kind of get what you're after. So like here, I'm going to go ahead and just take this out. And I think I might even go so far as to take of how much damage that can be done. Because you can only go so much into global before it like runs kind of low. I could probably bring that up quite a bit if I take this out and then just get the ever so, 10, 200% or so that's left in there. I could probably dump the rest of it into this and we'll get a little bit out of it. But even with all of those adjustments, that should help. Because it's not, you're not focusing on surviving when you're trying to kill this boss. You're just ultimately trying to do as much damage as you can possible. That's really kind of the goal here. We're not really focused too much on survivability. So yeah, like that didn't really quite work. So you might even have to go in here and take basically 31 up here, 30, bring up this quite a bit. And try that and see with the same idea in mind. Because again, there's so many different things that we can tweak and adjust to make this work. It's just a matter of getting the right amount of damage. Yeah, so even then, we're still running shy of it. Well, in any case, I just got done having a nice, fun conversation. But naturally, right? I don't know, guys. If you don't talk to your relatives, talk to your relatives sometime. You got to do that. That's just a given. If you ain't doing that, you got to remember. All right? That's just your daily reminder. But that said, that's also another thing to remind yourself of, which is that down in the description below, should you want to save some money playing this game, you can download it, and you can follow the instructions in the description, and you too can save some money if you're playing. I will point out, though, that for the life of me, one of the things that kind of jumps out at me is, like, problematic, right, is, okay, so you can't beat the level, so you're just going to have to basically go ahead and trudge through it. As you might imagine, trying to get the correct draw, and this is, I have a horrible habit of doing this, which is to say that, like, I'll go through, I'll make all these tweaks, and then I've got to undo my tweaks. And that is to say that, just like what I did now, where, I maximized the amount of damage that I could do in this one set, I now got to go back in it and readjust the set. Now, there is this concept, in case you didn't already know, that you could just make another set and then just tweak that set instead of having to tweak your existing set every time you decide that you want to change something, right? The thing is, though, right, is I don't have the patience. So rather than have, like, set 2 be the one that has the right adjustments, right, and set it to that and then forget, is I don't know. It's for me, it's more of a ease of use to be able to go through here and say, okay, we're going to make this, or make that, and then it just, for me, it's easier. But on the same token, I just remember what the levels were and then go on my way. And I'm a little lazy for that reason, I know, but even still, one of the only times where it ever really becomes apparent that it is kind of a problem is like right now, where I'm like, oh, great, now I got to go through and readjust, and I don't know, after a certain point, it's like, okay, whatever, it's like, they're not gonna sweat over a little bit of a defense drop, and then going back and swapping the artifacts out. Well, that's easy enough, right? You don't have a whole lot of stress involved in that. Now, this is the only time where you gotta remember to check the actual ability, right? But, once you get all the accessories switched around, you're pretty much right back to where you were, without a whole lot of mess involved. So, in any case, of course, now we're down to the last 9 hours for the Firework Fest. So if you guys do want to take advantage of anything that's going on in the event, you best want to do it today, because today is the last day for the event. And naturally, I just thought I'd go ahead and let you guys know. But in any case, if you want to save 5%, make sure you check the description below. And I'll see you guys next time.